The Backrooms. Ahead lies a path that no other human has yet discovered. Phenomenon number 19. Radio waves of the past. Description: Radio waves of the past, or RWP for short, summarizes the phenomenon of which several Backrooms devices pick up on old waves, radio waves being the most common, thus the name, and then broadcast speeches, messages, etc., that seem altered. They all convey similar intentions/themes about disruption in the backrooms. Anyone can be affected by this phenomenon, so it is important to identify when and if this is occurring, and to be careful to follow the do's and don'ts. Occurrences. First occurrence. Several people were listening to Ralph's Radio Backrooms broadcast when the program is interrupted by static, followed by a man speaking. Static. Open this gate. Static. Tear down this wall. Static. We will break in. The program resumed shortly after. The man's voice was reported to have been heard on several other devices throughout the backrooms, such as on TVs, telephones, and walkie-talkies. The man was eventually identified to be Ronald Reagan giving his speech at the Berlin Wall. The last line, though, said clearly with his voice, was not part of his original speech. Other than confusion caused by the statement, no other consequences occurred. However, this isn't the only time such a thing has occurred. Return to the original page. Second occurrence. The second incident was more local and occurred at a small outpost. Over a private radio channel, a man's voice was heard saying this: "Yesterday, static, a date which will live in infamy, the backrooms, was suddenly and deliberately attacked by static. After getting replacements to stand in for them, the guards at the outpost found that the backrooms had not been attacked the previous day, and that the man's statement on the radio had been false. The words were identified to be an altered version of Franklin Roosevelt's Day of Infamy speech to the U.S. Congress." Return to the original page. Third occurrence. The third incident was heard across several levels, such as level 13, level 40, footnote, hidden speakers played the audio overhead, and level 400, footnote, several computers on level 400 opened an audio file that played the speech. After the audio file finished playing, it deleted itself. Any computers that played it restarted. There never was a war in all history easier to prevent by timely action than the one, static, that, static, destroyed the backrooms. It could, static, have been, static, stopped, but no one, static, listened, and one by one we were all sucked in. Static. We surely must not let that happen again. Static. To others. After analyzing the words, the author found that the speech was part of Winston Churchill's The Sinews of Peace, footnote, better known as the Iron Curtain speech, even though some of the words have been changed. It was noted by several wanderers that the coders stopped whatever they were doing on level 400 and appeared to listen to what the speaker had to say. Once the broadcast stopped, the entities resumed what they were doing at a faster pace than before. Return to the original page. The messages have been happening more frequently. So far, there was no way to prevent them from being received. There have also been a few unverified reports of messages through emails and other forms of communications. Here's a file containing all of them so far. Incident Report 1. Strange emails. Conversation between users StarRise2 and Maxwood. Title: Strange Emails. From StarRise2 to Staff. I would like to inform the staff of a certain incident with other users. I have lately been receiving emails from different accounts with similar names, such as unknown, unidentified, and error, etc. They all have been sending messages about war, threats to society, etc. I know that I reported to you about the first one, who is named Thing. and you dealt with them, upon which they deleted their account. I have my settings set to where only people who are fellow site members can contact me, but I would imagine you would be more effective in your filtering them. Isn't it obvious when someone is sock puppeting and harassing you with their accounts? You shouldn't let them join when you know that they are the same person causing a problem. Please do something about it. Reply to strange emails from Maxwood to Starrise2. Hi, I am the head of disciplinary for our organization. We recently received your report about the accounts who seemed to be sock puppets of a previous user you said was harassing you, that we banned. Unfortunately, we have found no records of such users in the database, and therefore no one to punish. We can't figure out how you can be receiving messages from members who are not on site if you are having your settings set the way you say you have them. Perhaps double check to make sure. Reply to strange emails from Starrise2 to Maxwood. Yep, my settings are exactly the way I said they were. Reply to strange emails from Maxwood to Starrise2. Okay, well, there isn't much we can do. Send me screenshots of these emails. I do know a certain someone who has been investigating a phenomenon that has recently come up. It does sound similar to what you are experiencing. I'll forward them to him and see if he can figure it out. If you receive any other messages, notify me. Reply to strange emails from Starrise2 to Maxwood. I will try and ignore them and send them to you when I receive them. I would say thank you, but reply to strange emails from Maxwood to Starrise2. I understand. I apologize that we can't do more. Incident Report 2. Altered recording. Conversation on Discord between users KRForever123 and MightyXXX. At MightyXXX. KR Forever yesterday at 21:19. I need to talk to you. Mighty XXX yesterday at 21:20. That's what I'm here for. What problem do you have to report? KR Forever 123. Yesterday at 21:22. This might sound crazy, but my recordings that I kept on my phone from the front rooms seems to have been altered. Mighty XXX yesterday at 21:24. What makes it so crazy? I'm sure the footage was distorted due to your no-clip. I mean, it did travel through the ground and into another reality. It basically teleported. KR Forever 123. Yesterday at 21:25. Okay, we all did. We don't look different. And how about whole scenes being completely different than they originally were? Family members saying things in the recording that they didn't say in real life. Mighty XXX. Yesterday at 21:30. Are you sure you're not just imagining things due to how tired you may be? KR Forever 123. Yesterday at 21:32. I'm tired, yes, but I use these videos to help me get to sleep and remind me what I'm still living for. I watched them just yesterday night, and they were the same as they have always been. I can even send you an upload of the recording as it is now, and you'll see what I mean. Mighty XXX. Yesterday at 21:39. Oh, I understand. Your family would have no idea that the Backrooms existed, let alone argue about its future. I'll forward this to some of the staff, and we'll see if we can figure anything out. Mighty XXX. Yesterday at 21:45. I can only tell you this. According to the staff, it's some part of a new phenomena that has been occurring lately. We have no way to restore the footage. I'm sorry if this affects you negatively. Perhaps get a good night's sleep and seek the nearest meg base to get a checkup, and see what they can do for you. Just tell them what happened. KR Forever 123. Yesterday at 22:03. Missing person. The user KR Forever 123 never reported to a meg base or came back online. It is assumed that something happened to them to prevent them from doing so. If you have any information on their whereabouts, please report them here. Conclusion made by the author. The changes made to the speeches seem to be all trying to convey a message of war, and all of the speeches are from a time of war in the front rooms. Why weren't these messages heard in the back rooms during the years they were made? I believe many questions like this one can be answered once we have more information. These old speeches being broadcasted could also point to the back rooms being on a different time than the front rooms. We could have been transported from 2016 and ended up in 1942 in the back rooms. There, recently, was the discovery of a wanderer who died from Phenomenon 3, whose identification said his birth date was 1 year in the future. We don't, as far as I know, have an actual timeline of every year in the back rooms, and we have no way of finding out what is happening in the front rooms at this very moment. We don't even know when the front rooms is occurring right now. Therefore, it is possible some entity or person from the future might be messing with the old radio waves and rebroadcasting them. There is unfortunately no way to prove this theory. Note from Crunchy Cash. As you mentioned, this is mostly a theory. It can't really be proven. If you can't prove it, don't include it. You need evidence, or at least an explanation. Explain how it is possible for these radio waves to still be around. Additional author note. Radios have two separate parts, the transmitter and the receiver. The transmitter takes some of the message. It could be the sound of someone's voice, pictures for a TV set, data for a radio modem, or whatever, encodes it onto a sine wave, and then transmits it with radio waves. The receiver receives the radio waves and decodes the message from the sine wave it receives. Both the transmitter and the receiver use antennas to radiate and capture the radio signals. In our case, we know what the receiver is. The radios, computers, etc., that are broadcasting these speeches. If we wanted to, we could figure out the original transmitter, but not the current one. It could be possible that someone is taking the original speech and editing it, but it is equally possible that the receivers are picking up old radio waves or something else entirely. I suggest we keep a close watch on these messages. If we allow ourselves to get too used to something, we'll only get surprised and in a state of vulnerability when it comes back to bite us. It is entirely possible that this is more than just a strange happening in the back rooms. There has been an unauthorized edit, revision, there has been a new addition to the document. View? There's no reason to be afraid. Overall, the voices themselves on the radio pose no threat. They appear to just be alterations of old broadcasts. The context of the speeches themselves may have been altered due to the amount of time or distance they took to be picked up by a receiver. The only way they can hurt you is if you allow yourself to get scared and confused by them. Furthermore, after months with no sign of possible war, it has been concluded that the Backrooms is under no threat of invasion. The only concern the people living in the backrooms should be worried about is the rapid, slight increase in entity numbers. Don't pay any attention to any messages you may receive via radio, computer, or other electronic means, even if the messenger seems to be sending a warning, threat, plan, or declaration of war. Thank you for your cooperation. Error in displaying profile. Head of Community Outreach. You've got mail from unknown. To view their message, click on their profile link. Do's and don'ts. Do. Keep calm. Ignore the context of the messages. Alert the Meg of any changes in the overall concepts of the messages. Don't. Panic. Believe what the speakers are saying. Gossip about the messages. Allow them to disrupt your lifestyle.